Everyone thinks The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten is just another wholesome romance anime filled with cute cooking scenes, soft smiles, and quiet moments between two shy teenagers. But Season 2 is about to test their relationship in ways fans are seriously not ready for. Because underneath the sweetness, this story has always been about loneliness, emotional scars, and the fear of losing the one person who finally made life feel warm again. Season 1 showed us how Amane and Mahiru slowly changed each other's lives. A lonely boy who avoided people, and the school's perfect angel who secretly carried emotional pain behind her beautiful smile. Their relationship didn't begin with dramatic confessions or flashy romance. It started with kindness, small conversations, quiet dinners, moments that slowly turned into emotional dependence. But now, everything is changing. In Season 2, school rumors will begin spreading faster than ever. More classmates will notice how close Mahiru and Amane have become. Jealousy will start growing around them, and for the first time, both of them may be forced to confront something terrifying, the fear of losing each other, because protecting a relationship is much harder than quietly falling in love. Season 1 was about discovering comfort in another person. Season 2 is about protecting that comfort when the world starts interfering. And honestly, that's what could make this season even more emotional than the first. Before we begin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Do you think Mahiru and Amane will officially become anime's best romance couple by the end of Season 2? At first glance, The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten looks like a simple, wholesome romance story. Cute moments, warm conversations, two teenagers slowly falling in love. But the reason this anime connected with so many people goes much deeper than romance, because at its core, this story is really about two emotionally lonely people finding comfort in each other when the world around them failed to understand them. Amane Fujimiya was never the kind of student people paid attention to. He lived quietly, stayed away from drama, and spent most of his days alone in his apartment. His room was messy, his lifestyle was unhealthy, and honestly, it almost felt like he stopped caring about himself completely. But that loneliness didn't come from nowhere. Amane had already experienced painful situations in the past that made him emotionally distant from others. Instead of opening up to people, he chose isolation because it felt safer. If you never get close to anyone, you never risk getting hurt. And over time, that mindset became part of his everyday life. Then there was Mahiru Shina, the complete opposite on the surface. Beautiful, elegant, intelligent, calm, perfect grades, perfect appearance, perfect personality. At school, students admired her so much they literally called her the angel. Everywhere she walked, people noticed her. She looked like someone living the perfect life. But appearances can hide painful truths, because behind that graceful smile was someone just as emotionally lonely as Amane. Maybe even more. Mahiru grew up without real emotional warmth from her family. Instead of receiving love naturally, she spent years learning how to become perfect so people would admire her. But admiration is not the same as emotional connection. People love the image of Mahiru, not the real girl hiding behind it. And that's what makes the beginning of this story so important. Everything changed during one simple rainy night. Amane found Mahiru sitting alone in the rain on a swing, completely soaked, while staring silently into the distance. Most people probably would have ignored her. After all, she was the untouchable angel everyone admired from afar. But Amane noticed something others didn't. She looked sad. Without overthinking it, he handed her his umbrella and walked away. No expectations, no attempt to impress her, no hidden motives, just simple kindness. And honestly, that small moment became the emotional foundation of the entire story. Because for the first time in a long time, Mahiru experienced kindness that wasn't connected to expectations or admiration. Amane treated her like a normal person, not an idol placed on a pedestal. Soon after, Mahiru visited Amane's apartment after noticing how badly he lived. His room was a disaster. He barely took care of himself properly, and his eating habits were terrible. So she started helping him little by little, cooking meals, cleaning the apartment, making sure he actually lived like a normal human being. Now, on the surface, these scenes looked cute and wholesome, and yes, they absolutely were, but emotionally, they meant much more than that. Every meal Mahiru cooked represented care she herself never truly received growing up. Every time Amane worried about her health or thanked her sincerely, it reminded her that someone genuinely appreciated her presence, not because she was the angel, but because she was Mahiru. At the same time, Mahiru slowly changed Amane too. Before meeting her, he was emotionally disconnected from life, but her presence made him want to improve himself again. He started cleaning more, caring more, and slowly opening his heart in ways he hadn't done in years. And that's what made their chemistry feel so real compared to many romance anime. Their relationship wasn't built through dramatic love triangles or exaggerated comedy scenes. It was built through consistency, through quiet conversations at dinner, through checking on each other after difficult difficult days, through small emotional moments that slowly became impossible to live without. Did you notice how some of the strongest scenes in Season 1 were also the simplest? Not giant confessions, not dramatic kisses, just two lonely people sitting together in silence, finally feeling safe around someone else. That emotional realism is why so many fans became deeply attached to this story, because it captured something rare, the feeling of finding comfort in another person without needing grand dramatic moments. But as their relationship grew closer, new emotions started appearing too. Mahiru began showing sides of herself nobody else ever saw. She became softer around Amane, more honest, more emotionally vulnerable, sometimes jealous, sometimes shy. And slowly, even Amane started realizing that Mahiru was no longer just his beautiful neighbor. She had become the most important person in his daily life. By the end of Season 1, their relationship had already crossed the line between friendship and romance emotionally. Even if they hadn't fully defined it yet, the hand-holding moments, the blushing reactions, the quiet emotional tension between them, everything pointed toward feeling becoming impossible to ignore. But here's the important part. Season 1 was the easy part of their story, because quietly falling in love inside the safety of their private world is completely different from protecting that relationship once the outside world starts noticing. And that is where Season 2 truly begins. After all the growing closeness between Amane and Mahiru in The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, what most viewers don't realize is that the story was never only about romance. On the surface, it looks soft, comforting, and almost simple. But underneath that warmth is something much more emotional. Two people slowly healing wounds they never openly talked about. Mahiru, despite being called the perfect angel, never actually lived a perfect emotional life. She learned early that being flawless made people admire her, but admiration is not the same as being understood. So she built a version of herself that others could praise, while hiding the parts of her that felt lonely or unsure. Over time, she became skilled at smiling, even when she felt empty inside. Amane, on the other hand, chose a different form of protection. Instead of pretending to be perfect, he withdrew completely. He avoided people, avoided attention, and built walls around himself so he wouldn't have to face disappointment again. For him, loneliness became normal, almost safe, and that's why their connection feels so natural, because they didn't fix each other with big dramatic moments. They slowly created a space where neither of them had to pretend. Even the simplest scenes in their daily life carry hidden emotional weight. When Mahiru cooks for Amane, it's not just about food, it's about care, something she never really received in a genuine, consistent way. When Amane quietly thanks her or worries about her well-being, it's not just politeness. It's the first time someone has treated her like a person instead of an ideal. That's why this story feels different from typical romance anime. The emotions are not loud, they are subtle, but they stay with you longer. One of the most important hidden themes in Season 2 is fear. Not fear of rejection, but fear of happiness. Both characters are slowly becoming aware that what they have might not last forever, and that awareness changes everything. Because when you start valuing something deeply, you also become afraid of losing it. Mahiru begins to struggle with the idea of being truly seen. If people discover the real her beyond the angel image, will they still accept her? And more importantly, if Amane sees all her vulnerabilities, will he still stay? Amane faces a different fear. He knows exactly how much Mahiru means to him now, but that creates pressure. Instead of enjoying the relationship freely, he starts overthinking whether he is capable of keeping her happy. That kind of thinking slowly builds emotional distance, even when no real problem exists. This is where Season 2 becomes more intense than Season 1, not because of external drama, but because of internal conflict. Even everyday moments begin to carry double meaning. A small silence can feel heavier. A simple misunderstanding can linger longer than it should, not because they are falling apart, but because they care more deeply now than before. And that's the irony of emotional closeness. The more you care, the more fragile everything feels. What makes their bond so powerful is not that they are perfect together, but that they are still learning how to exist in a relationship while carrying personal insecurity. They are not fixed characters, they are growing characters, and that growth is what makes every small moment matter. Because in the end, this story isn't just about a boy and a girl falling in love, it's about two lonely people slowly learning that being seen, understood, and accepted might be the most terrifying and most beautiful thing they will ever experience. As the pressure builds in The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, Season 2 slowly shifts from a soft romance into something more emotionally intense. What once felt private and safe between Amane and Mahiru is no longer hidden from the world. School life starts noticing them more closely, and even without direct confrontation, the attention begins to change everything. Amane feels it first, the way people look at them together, the quiet rumors forming in the background, the subtle curiosity from classmates. None of it is openly aggressive, but it creates a constant sense sense of pressure, and for someone who already struggles with self-worth, it becomes hard not to overthink every situation. He starts questioning whether he truly belongs beside Mahiru. Even though their bond is real, the more people look at them, the more he starts doubting himself, not because anything has changed between them, but because his insecurities were never fully gone in the first place. Mahiru also begins to feel a different kind of emotional weight. She is used to being admired from a distance, but now that her connection with Amane is becoming more visible, she is no longer just an ideal. She is a person with real emotions, and that makes her vulnerable in a new way. Being seen for who she truly is feels both comforting and frightening at the same time. For the first time, she has something real that people can question, and that makes her more aware of how fragile happiness can feel when others start talking. At the same time, small, everyday moments start changing meaning. A simple walk home together no longer feels completely private. A quiet conversation in school feels like it carries hidden attention from others. Even silence between them begins to feel heavier because both of them are now aware that people are watching, even when nothing is being said directly. And that awareness slowly changes how they behave, not because they want distance, but because they are trying to protect what they have. This is where the emotional core of Season 2 becomes clear. It is no longer about discovering love, but about protecting it under pressure. The relationship they built in comfort is now being tested in reality, and reality is never as quiet as their private world once was. Amane starts overthinking more deeply, wondering if his presence in Mahiru's life is creating more problems than happiness. Mahiru, on the other hand, begins silently observing his emotional changes, noticing when he becomes distant in thought, even if he is physically close. Both of them care too much now to ignore these changes, but neither fully expresses their fears out loud. And that's where the tension grows, not from arguments, but from silence, hesitation, and fear of misunderstanding. Before ending, tell me in the comments, do you think Amane will overcome his insecurity and accept that he deserves Mahiru, or will outside pressure slowly create distance between them?